Have you ever heard any strange noises from your suspension system? If so, it might not be normal. Hello everyone and welcome back to Rolling Ragu. It's good to have you here today. Hope you're doing well. We had not driven a single Class A other than the one we purchased. And I think that happens to a lot of folks. And then you start driving it and you start wondering, is this normal? Should I hear that sound? Should I feel that bump? Should my passengers be grabbing the armrest in hopes that we don't tip over as we go around turns? But in the beginning, we didn't know how to determine what was normal, what was not normal. And that was the case with the suspension system. I can remember on the day we drove home, when we got to the house, I have about 1,000 feet of gravel drive. At times it's washed out a little bit, needs to be graded. So when we got to the house and I turned into the driveway and the coach is rocking back and forth and I'm hearing some loud banging noises, I assumed I was just stressing the suspension system because these things aren't designed to go off-roading. Now, if you do some internet reading about banging in the suspension, particularly with the Tiffins, I haven't read other forums very much, but it's well known that there are what's called, I guess, bad welds, and some of the framework for attaching the coach to the chassis either breaks or wasn't done 100% at the factory. That's what I expected to find, but I didn't. But thanks to my very handy brother-in-law, I asked him if he'd take a ride with me and actually stick his head into the doghouse while we drove. Now, I want to help you. I didn't ever really record the noise, but to describe it to you, it felt like metal on metal. Someone was striking the coach with a hammer. And it only happened, it wouldn't happen, if a pothole was a few inches deep, it wouldn't happen. But if much more than that, if I started rocking, it would bang. So assuming that it was these broken welds and some angle irons hitting each other was a fair assumption. As we rode down the street, my brother-in-law has his head in the doghouse. Let me back up a second. He's highly qualified for this job. He owns a metal fabrication business, and I think knew what he was looking for better than I would have. I created the banging noise once, and he didn't catch it. And I think by the second or third pothole, he said, "I see it." So we come to a stop in a safe place, put it in park, and I stick my head down, and he describes to me what he was seeing. At first I was really concerned when I saw what he said he saw, because thoughts of the coach having previously been in an accident or stuff really being out of alignment came to my head. So let me show you here in this video. You can see how the hydraulic jacks are welded to this iron plate, like a C channel that's maybe 10 or 12 inches in width. That C channel is then welded to the main frame rail of the chassis. The plate that the jack is mounted to has a few inches of excess length to it. The problem came in that the jack was mounted to the frame directly over the leaf springs of the front suspension. I could see where he was pointing out that the plate was contacting the top of the leaf spring, that every time we got that bang, it was metal on metal, and there was I'll call it a mark in the top of the leaf spring. So it was very clear what was going on. It gave those leaf springs only a few inches of travel before they would contact the plate that the jack was mounted to. So you can see how I was feeling like, well, surely it wasn't designed this way. what's going on here? Is my entire axle shifted out of the correct location? I didn't know. Before I got into doing anything extreme, I figured this warranted a call to Tiffin. You know, you can hear praises of Tiffin's customer service all over the place, and I certainly can praise the service I got on this particular phone call. Within 2 minutes of calling and describing my problem, I was on the phone with the manager of the department that does the hydraulic jacks. Right away, he said, I have seen a few cases of this before. It is not supposed to be that way, but once in a while, it gets through the line. Two things came to mind. One, wow, how does that get past anyone? It could be dangerous, actually. Two, great, because I know of an easy solution if Tiffin approves me doing this. I said, I don't see any problem with me just removing several inches of the plate that's holding that jack to the frame. And if I did that, it would give me all the clearance I would need for those leaf springs to go back and forth. He immediately agreed that that would be their solution in Red Bay and suggested that that's what I do. So I got the grinder out. I have very little experience working with metals and grinders, so I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into. Turns out it wasn't that bad of a job. I cut several inches off of the plate, went on a test drive, and I couldn't get the banging to duplicate itself. If you're watching this, it's probably because you are wondering about some of the noises you have in your suspension. Certainly worth digging around some. No telling what you might uncover. I would have never expected to uncover this. Don't continue to live with it. Goodness, I think of the guy we bought this coach from. He owned it for 6 years, put 9,000 miles on. I wonder what he thought of the banging noise. Maybe he sold the motorhome partly because he couldn't figure out what that issue was. Who knows? But if that's you and you have some noises, I hope that this may help someone. I'm going to continue to bring you these videos. I think they might be classified as a series of novice motorhome owner tackles problems as they arise, and I'll just show you how we get through some of these issues. One thing's for certain, if you own a motorhome or an RV of any type, you're going to have issues arise. There's nothing like being able to figure this stuff out on your own, if for no other reason, peace of mind, but also the time advantage. I try very hard to not have to bring this in, and knowing that I'm probably going to lose it for an extended period of time, and the cost. In every single case, I've been able to resolve it without too much sweat or talent. I hope this can inspire you if you have something going on with your coach that you can address it. Thanks again for joining us. Check out some of our other videos. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, do all the things. There's a bell. We would really give us a comment. We would really enjoy hearing from you. Join us next week as we'll be back on the Pacific Coast in a few more weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. I'll give you another video similar to this one of some issue that's arisen.